Right, it's your Geordie Journos. It is sunny, windy, St James's Park, of course. We're not in South Korea, as we've stated on previous videos. We wish we were there. We haven't missed a massive amount on the field, but a fair bit amount of stuff off the field. So what we'll do in the first half of this one, as long as we don't get blown away and we're squinting through this video, but we just thought we'd get on with it. We'll talk a little bit about the game itself, when Newcastle United drew 1-1, goal from Harvey Barnes, equaliser after, who got the first one?
Brennan Johnson.
Brennan Johnson, yeah, after what I thought was a bit of a Jacob Murphy error. 1-1 over in Seoul. So we'll start on that one, Jordan. What were your main takeaways from the conversation that happened over in South Korea the other day?
Yeah, I thought Newcastle were much improved, certainly based off what we're seeing in midweek against Team K-League. Second half, I thought they were probably the better team. I don't think too many teams created too many chances in the second half. But I thought they were much improved, which is what you want to see. I think, again, I've always said, and I know you sort of maybe have a slightly different view on this, but for me, results in pre-season don't matter, but I do like to see good performances. And having not won a game in pre-season yet, it was important Newcastle did show something today, and I thought they did. Obviously, Anthony Gordon leading the line. I thought he was probably my standout man, to be honest. But again, it goes back to the sort of the question of how desperate they are for a striker, having him leading the line. But just on his performance, I just think out of all of the players that I've seen in pre-season, I think he looks the sharpest and the most ready, and looks like a player that's determined to do well again this season, which is good to see, because he's done an interview with Craig Open Chronicle over there. Anthony Gordon sort of was honest about his back end of last season and the last summer as well. Obviously the Liverpool speculation, etc. I do think it obviously, as he said himself, took a massive toll on him, and we didn't see the real Anthony Gordon last year, whereas I sensed by his words in those interviews that he is determined. I think he showed that today as well in his performance. Again, he's a striker. He's not a striker. He's not a striker, but I think he led the line relatively well today. I think he had a couple of chances, maybe should have scored, but in terms of movement, running out wide, etc., I thought he done really well. I think he looks fit, which for me is really encouraging. He
looks fit, sharp, hungry. I think he took a little bit of criticism from some fans for his last game. But I thought, even though nothing came off from him, I thought he was probably the sharpest looking of all the front players.
It was the same as Celtic as well. I think fans criticise him at Celtic, but it was in a sort of poor performance. He was the one that wanted to show a bit of aggression and get stuck in. And I like seeing that when, again, it's only pre-season, but when your teams are performing very well, it's determination and a bit of fight and hunger to do something and create something. So no, I full credit to him. I think he's really good, and I say out of all the players, I think he looks the most ready.
I thought there was a little bit more about them today. I thought they struggled for that first period, and I remember saying to you, they're not really getting the passes and the sequences, etc., all that kind of thing into play. But then, literally, as I was talking to you about that when we were watching the game, they put together probably the move of the match. Really, really good. They looked a little bit devoid of ideas previous to that, but the little sequence of moving it into Bruno and him and Joe Linton showing a little bit and getting it out to Gordon, out to Barnes, and it was a great finish. But no, I like what I saw from Anthony Gordon. I like what I saw from Bruno Guimaraes as well. I like to see that bit fight. And
there was that.
The South American boys, they don't like each other, do they? They never like each other.
No.
Just good job it was a friendly, but I like to see that.
Yeah.
I like it.
When VAR's not there, you're quite happy.
Exactly.
I think Bruno knew that as well, because obviously the incident that we're talking about was he's literally grabbed Christian Moore around the neck.
Yeah.
And sent a bit of body between them, and he grabbed him.
He deserved it, him.
Yeah. He does,
doesn't he? He gives it, he should be able to take it.
He's a nasty bugger, but it's at Brazil, Argentina, isn't it?
They can't stand each other, all of them.
Yeah, but Joe Linton bodied a couple of people today as well, standard, I suppose.
Elbows also.
He was at
Archie Gray.
Who
was excellent, by the way. I thought he was incredible.
Meant to sort of like number 8, wasn't he?
He looks like the type of number 8 Newcastle United could do with.
Well, he was playing centre half last year when he
was, and so it was wasted really. But they needed it. It was a needs must, wasn't it? But no, I thought the 3 standout players on the pitch were those 3. I thought Anthony Gordon, for all the iron product isn't always there with Anthony Gordon, but when he's a hungry Anthony Gordon like he was a year or so ago, there's not many better. Not with that speed that he possesses.
Bit of nastiness as well.
It's just I've never really gone in on him when a lot of people have. I've always said just stick by him. He's a good player. He will come good. And I believe he will be really good for Newcastle United this season. And let's be brutally honest, he's going to be playing centre forward if things continue the way they are, which we'll talk a little bit more about in the second half of the show. A bit more about the transfers, Alexander Isak, Benjamin Sesko, etc. But yeah, I thought Bruno Joe Linton showed a little bit. It's nice to see that the team had a little bit of frustration, a bit of bite, a bit of fight.
Yeah.
You don't want to surrender, and I said that on the last video. As a football club, as a team, as players, as a squad, as a fan base, there's no surrendering, and that's what it's felt like this summer. It's felt like a bit of a wave the white flag sort of approach. They've tried, it's just not worked. Now it's worked, and the players needed to show a bit. I said that on the last video. It's time for some of them to stand up in adversity, and I felt there was a little bit more of that today. On what was a bit of it, it was a bit of a testimonial, wasn't it? For Son.
Yeah.
But it was a South Korean, not Son himself, who caught your eye today. I know you wanted to say something about that.
Yeah, Pork. I'm not going to try and pronounce the two other words I did try in the last one, but Pork. I just thought for the second game in a row, I thought maybe midweek might be sort of flash in the pan, but I thought again he was really bright today. Lovely touch, lovely bit of skill. It's like I was trying to create a skill for him, and he sort of does a little jink back, and he's really caught my eye, and I just hope Newcastle manage him really well, because clearly this lad's got talent.
Yeah, he has.
He's got undeniable talent, and previously when Newcastle have signed the type of these players, I'll go back to Garon Cole. I think he's the sort of perfect example. Is they signed him from Australia, sort of played the World Cup, high potential, but coming here hasn't really improved. If anything, it's actually knocked him. Failed loan spells. Done all right in the 21s last year, but just wasn't quite managed quite rightly in my opinion. Look, it always comes down to ability, and maybe Garon Cole, for example, is not good enough, and maybe Pork in the future might not be good enough, but he's got something there. And I would just like to see Newcastle get his development right, because if they do, there is a chance he could break through. Young
lad, but he looks like he needs a lot of training, I think.
He does, yeah.
He doesn't quite look, he doesn't look svelte and quite the right shape you'd want him to be, but that's just because of the level he's been playing at. It'll be 6 months here of proper training, strength conditioning, all that kind of stuff. He'll be in great shape, and he looks to me like he's a willing winger who wants to take people on and wants to excite. And look, I wouldn't be keen to stifle that in any way, shape or form. And I hope Eddie Howe takes to him and brings him in and around, and has taken to him, because there's a lot to like there, and he sounds like he's going to get kept around for the 21s,
which I think is the best step, because I don't think you need Lizzie send out on loan. I think coming from a new country, I do think he just needs to get to know the area and the club before looking to send him out on loan. But as I say, I think he would have surprised a few at Newcastle United, and Eddie Howe, I don't think he would have expected that from a player. I think he's came on, and I say it's not easy, he's actually made a real impression, to the point where me and you are talking about him, so big credit to him. Obviously I'm not saying he's Premier League ready now, but I just hope they can manage him rightly, and maybe in a couple of years he might be ready to make an impact. But no, he's honestly, he's got proper ability. I always say with players, you can see it sort of probably within the first 10 minutes of watching him, he's got raw ability.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a few in and around that. I mean, Sean Neve's another one I really like.
Yeah, he hasn't got many minutes, or did he?
He hasn't got many minutes here, and I think they're possibly going to keep him around again, potentially, before loaning him out, which is probably, like I say, it's the kind of arm around the shoulder. We'll keep you here and we'll learn you how to do it properly before you go out and make your mistakes. I think that's the best approach. Lewis Miley could have done with that, really. I think, although there was flashes in the game, I think there's been little flashes. There's a quality player there somewhere. It's just not really been shown in full-blown games yet. But you can see he's a lad. I said to you, if I was in and around him, I would be literally getting a load of DVDs, hold on, get the videos out.
Go on YouTube.
Get him a couple of cassettes.
Video recorders. That's what I used to call them as a kid, video recorders.
Get them on YouTube and just say, right son, you're a big lad, you're going to fill out when you get older. Maybe he's get a bit more brave in the tackle, but just go and watch exactly what Rodri does. Watch everything he does, because that's where you'll play. And remember, you once coined him the standing Rodri, didn't you?
Yeah, did I?
Should tell the story.
Gets to it, aye.
Right, go on, you tell the story.
So if you haven't subscribed to Newcastle World newsletters, they go live every Thursday morning. So I might put a link in the description if I remember. But if I don't, go to Newcastle World, sign up for the newsletters, because you get a Cronin's Corner in a newsletter every Thursday morning. But Cronin's Corner became Kennedy's Corner one Thursday, which I didn't quite know about because I was on holiday.
He was on holiday, and we just kept it as Cronin's Corner.
Cronin's Corner, yeah. So I'm going to take credit for this if this turns out to be true. But yeah, logging on to read the newsletter out of curiosity, to find that I myself had called Lewis Miley the Stanley Rodri. Of course, it wasn't me. It was Liam who was covering that day.
Yeah. I might have had a little bit of fun on your behalf that day.
Well, that was the best edition I've ever had of that, the newsletter.
It was
with
good.
That quirky writing.
It was, It was. No, anyway, I do sign up Newcastle will. That's always work for.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll have Dom back soon. Hopefully, he'll be back, won't he? No, not this weekend.
I'm not quite sure when, but he's.
See next week. Next week.
I'm counting down the days.
Shields Gazette's Dom Skirl will be back at some point as well. But anyway, I think that's a good point. I mean, we've talked about the game. It is what it is. I don't like the thought. No person likes losing all the time. So even though our friendlies don't matter, you didn't want to lose them all.
No.
And I think it was important they didn't lose that one. That was what I took from it, as well as showing a bit of bottle and a bit of fight. I think the defence is mad. Like
it's like short balls out, isn't it? It's just keep getting that. Like
it's
getting snapped
suicide
up.
Football. Passing into players under pressure, back to facing their own goal. It's crackers, and it's very old. Pope, Trippier. On the day was Pope, Trippier, Target, Shea and Byrne. Combined age of 740. You know, all players in their own right. And they said all good players in their own right, but mate, you can fill in what I'm talking about there. Anyway, I think they need to. Yeah, there needs to be. It's something that's going further and further back in the list of priorities, it seems, but it's in dire need in it of sorting out. But anyway, we'll go to the ad break. There's bits and bobs down here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about transfers and things we know, have heard, opinions as well. Some people criticise us for having opinions. What's all this about? We say, I want facts. I don't want your opinions. You come to the wrong channel if you don't want our opinions. Well, ever since we set this up nearly 3 years ago, it's been based on our hot takes on what's happening there.
Yeah. We'll provide the facts, but we also like to give our sort of stance on it. So I think that's what we're trying to make ourselves unique in that sense.
Of course, we're trying to bridge that gap, really. Give you some informed opinion, because these guys, it's not me, these guys, Dom and Jordan, are always at every single Eddie Howe press conference, apart from the fact we're not in Korea. But will be again from Thursday if he does one. Yeah,
potentially might do one out of the cellar weekend. He has the last couple of times, so I would think so.
They might not, They might not know the Isak stuff. Be interesting. Who knows? They might still.
Yeah, see what happens this week, watch.
If they're still trying to sell tickets for Friday, they might still.
Yeah.
Tough sell that.
to be, I know the club sell the Atletico Madrid tickets first, didn't they? And then
which I bought for that.
And then
me and the kids.
Sneakily, there's a Friday game as well. If you want to come to that one.
So I'll be working Friday with you guys. Dom will not be here actually, but just with you. And then I'll be in the stands on Saturday.
Big good game.
Enjoying the women's football first, and the men's after.
Nice, because it's the women's Atletico Madrid as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
that should be a good.
It's a good day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully.
It's a step level of opposition to say the least, like Champions League. But anyway.
Anyway, right. Here's the ads. All the details are down below. After this, we'll be talking transfers, so do stay tuned.
Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking, and certified data destruction. That's Comply IT Limited. 4 Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in.
Right, that was the proud sponsors of the Geordie Journals. All the details are down below. If you do like the content that we do, we've done loads throughout the summer. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Spread the word of the Geordie Journals. Right, transfers. It's an ever-changing beast, the transfer window, isn't it? And the hardest thing about doing these videos and talking transfers, I think, for now, is it dates so quickly. We can say something now and it can be like, click of a finger, change all of a sudden. But we can talk probably a bit more loosely about where we think the situation is and what we think will happen. The big question for me isn't necessarily on incomings. Somebody shouting. Isn't necessarily the incomings, which is huge. I think the next big question is Newcastle United arrive in the UK at 7:30 tomorrow morning. We don't know whether they'll give them a bit of time off or not, but there is a game on Friday, so I think they'll be building up towards that. Possibly Tuesday, latest Wednesday, 48 to 72 hours. Crucial in terms of where Alexander Isak stands mentally.
Yes, because obviously we all spoke about on the Friday's video about will he or won't he turn up to train next week. There's been obviously development since then. He's flew back, as we understand, from San Sebastian
Last night.
Yeah. So he's back on Tyneside, as we're led to believe, or back in the country.
Biarritz was where he flew from.
Is that what it's called, is it?
Yeah, but it wasn't it? It was slightly over here.
So he's...
What to do with the size of the... It's going to be boring.
Yeah.
For the plane spotters, I think it's to do with the size of the plane, etc.
Yeah.
I don't think many go from San Sebastian, which does have an airport. I think it's Biarritz.
That's good. That's good knowledge.
I know.
And not many people knew that. I didn't know that.
I was doing some research. I've been asking around. I don't know that. I'm not a flight radar man.
I am, like. I didn't see his flight though. I was off yesterday. But yes, as we understand, he's back on Tyneside, or at least his plane landed there. Whether he's gone here all of that, I guess we'll find out.
Is he stopping in his house though?
Yeah. Oh.
Is he stopping in his house?
Right. Yeah.
What, is it still on Rightmove? No.
It was apparently on Rightmove on it, but it
got binned after Charlie Bennett rang them up. Shout out to Charlie.
Yeah, he did. Which, it's not there now. It did get removed.
Yeah, it did get taken down.
But anyway, will he be back next week? I think we're probably going to find out, as you mentioned, Tuesday, Wednesday, at the latest. Eddie Howe was asked today after the Tottenham game if he thinks he thinks Alexander Isak will train next week. He said, "I'm not sure."
Well, I think
I'm not exactly convinced.
I'll be honest with you. I'm slightly surprised. I thought that you can only go with what we've seen. So the evidence, what we talked about on Friday, where the evidence was he'd already shown he was willing not to go on a trip and not turn up for duty. So my thought process from there was, I've got grave doubts whether he turns up for duty again. So I still don't think we've answered that. I was slightly surprised in a positive manner that he did decide to come back. I said to you off camera, I'm not sure he ever comes back to Tyneside. Yeah. That was my thought process, that there was a risk of that happening. He has come back, but I also still think it's another step. To then suddenly turn up on the training field with the rest of the players is another big step, and it's a one that we still don't know whether he'll actually take.
It might be a Johan Visas type scenario where last week turned up the training ground for a couple of hours and then left. By the sounds it, told the manager he wanted to leave again. They had a friendly on Saturday against QPR, wasn't present then, so maybe it's a type of scenario where he does turn up, doesn't stay there, or he does turn up but he still doesn't train. So it's hard to know. As I say, the proof will be in the pudding early this week, but that for me is, as we've mentioned, massive in this saga and how it ends.
Amazing how much went wrong so quickly. The signs up all the way along when you drive down the back of the Gallagher, signs of Alexander Isak hanging on the lampposts here. For anybody, I know there's a lot of people watch this all around the world, but the lampposts on the Gallagher end are sort of draped in. They were draped in Carabao Cup winning paraphernalia, weren't they? Up until recently. Then they changed to the new black and white shirt when that was launched, with some women's players like Jacob Murphy, Joe Linton, others, and Alexander Isak is right prominent in 4 or 5 as you drive along all the way up, and then as you head down towards the bottom end there as well. So the remnants of Isak are still very alive here. I actually thought you could still see his shirt in the Ramsdale interview that they did as well in the changing room. Might have to double check that, but there was a moment where I went 14. Anyway, I might have got that wrong. Might have just been my eyes deceiving us, but I thought I seen it in the changing room when they were talking to him. So the remnants of Alexander Isak are all still here. Let's hope they don't become ghosts. I can't be clear on this, my stance on it. I think his behaviour to this point has been, as I've mentioned many times on X, Twitter as it used to be called, and here, I think it's been disgraceful. I think, you might not be happy with things that are going on and you might still want to leave, but you don't just not turn up.
No, it's
let everybody down around you. Everyone all over the place here. Yeah, you don't, do you?
It's just a total lack of disrespect, I think, to your manager and to your teammates.
Club, teammates, everything, fans.
It's the manager that sort of made you. Like Alexander Isak before he came here hadn't touched double figures in his season before coming to St James's Park.
Not the season before, no. He was still a good player. That's why they paid 65 million for him.
He's always been a big European name, but literally Eddie Howe has made him into a prolific.
Propelled him into the upper echelons of strikers around world football, and then to show an absolute disregard and disrespect. I can't really level with myself. I actually do understand why he's doing it.
because he's thinking about himself and he wants to move,
and wants the best for himself.
And I understand why perhaps want to move on,
but the conduct is all wrong.
Exactly. You see players, if you want to move on, you still fulfill your duties until you're told otherwise. And then he hasn't done that.
What happens to me from there is, if he was then to suddenly say, you know what, I've made a mistake and come back, I would welcome him back with open arms, and a lot of people might not feel the same. I think
Eddie Howe has certainly left the door open for him, by the way.
He has, but I think he was very calculated this weekend. He didn't have to say that he didn't know where he was, and he only found out through the media. That to me was as big a dagger as I've ever heard, even though Eddie Howe has been remarkably respectful and he's dealt with this brilliantly. I mean, the football club are lucky to have an operator like that who can deal with these things in the manner that he has, but it was very pointed in admitting that. That was the only crack I've seen that he hasn't always straight. He said it himself, I'm going to straight bat these questions. I think the previous press conference, that wasn't a straight bat. That was an admittance that the player has done things that he has no idea about. However, you could also say, as he does keep saying, there's other teams, other people are dealing with Alexander Isak at the moment, I'm not dealing with it. That could easily have just been him saying, yeah, now to do with me. And he might not know for that reason. The team dealing with him might already know.
Yeah, he has mentioned a couple of times that the team dealing with us back in England, to be honest, I don't know who's dealing with Alexander Isak.
No, we've sort of tried to work that out, but...
So... yeah, it's a big week, like, in terms of whether he's going to turn up or not. But I think obviously the stance of the football club is he will not go unless there's a replacement found. Obviously, I think if Newcastle do find a replacement or are able to bring in a replacement and potentially another, say, sign 2 strikers this window, I do think that alters Newcastle's stance a little bit, where they become open to selling the player.
You don't go. This is the thing that maybe needs a bit of dispelling. This is my opinion, but not how I understand the situation. I think the least likely, and I see a lot of people saying it, the least likely situation here is Newcastle United sign somebody like Sesko and keep Isak and have the two of them. I think that's the least likely. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen, because in football you just never know. I don't think that is going to happen in any way, shape, or form.
I'll be doubtul. Like,
if Sesko comes in, it's Isak's replacement.
Yeah.
The other deal is the one that is replacing Callum Wilson. Sesko is not a Wilson replacement. This is future proofing, and I think it's becoming more and more obvious that Ekitike was that too.
Yeah, no, there was obviously what we thought at the time, and what we were told at the time was that there would be Ekitike and Isak, but what you would have had there is a replacement.
This would have just started.
Yeah.
It would have just been even more so, because they hadn't got that sort of player that can cover just in case they need. They would have been going all in for Isak.
But again, Newcastle have got a valuation. How low did they drop below this valuation?
Well, they'll not get 150. I don't think they're going to find anybody in world football who's going to pay 150. Not in a distressed situation where a player has basically told everybody he wants to leave. I think they'll hold strong. I think they'll be able to get good money. I think it actually strengthens them being able to get somebody in, because let's be honest about this. Everybody's accepted Alexander Isak wants to leave and is going to go. Whether it's now or whether it's next summer, he's away. He ain't staying. Now, it strengthens them because they can almost go from a position of strength of not needing. They know Isak wants out. They know it's probably not going to be able to be turned around. It's a tough one. It's still a mega tough one. That's why I think Tuesday, Wednesday is crucial in this. If he pushes further, we'll find out how much he wants to push. Are they all going to act like adults in this and not do all of that pushing? And Newcastle kind of thing. I think you'll have that word from Newcastle, because like I say, they're not going out to find Sesko and others that they've been linked with because they want to play them with Isak. It's because they're trying to replace him. This has a totally different deal, and I've always had the sense that could happen, and it sounds like it could.
Yeah, I think
the feeders.
You know what? It's pretty much an identical situation to Isak.
Similar. I do think Isak went.
It's just on a different level.
Effectively went on strike before there was any bid placed. Newcastle United were at the table talking. Had already had one bid rejected, then offered, in my understanding, another 2. I was talking for quite some time and correcting people saying 1 bid. I've since learned a couple of videos ago, but I haven't spoken about one here. It is 3 bids. It is 3 bids. Nice. Newcastle United placed, and I think they were getting up towards the figures that was wanted. So knowing that, I kind of feel like this probably gets there, but again, it's Brentford need somebody.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's why I think it's a similar situation where sort of hard stances, he's not for sale. Whistle that is, and then if Brentford get a replacement, like Newcastle get a replacement for Isak, we're open to doing a deal.
They need. I respect them for what they've done this weekend in terms of this Sesko deal. It needs pushed on. It needs massively pushed on. I checked with the guy who broke the story. Can't remember his name. Not about to try and pronounce it. The guy from Slovenia. I reached out to him. We had a bit of a conversation about whys and wherefores. He's adamant. He's still now standing here today, adamant that what he wrote on Friday night was right.
I think he's definitely heard something, because what followed after with the public nature of the bid, he has been told something. Whether that's exactly that Sesko is going to come, he's been told something, and ultimately it's sort of been proved to be right with developments happening. It was no coincidence that 12 hours later it was Newcastle have put in a bid for Benjamin Sesko.
But I respect them for it in many ways, because Newcastle United, not only do they need to get answers for themselves, they also need to get an answer for Isak to work out what the hell's going on this summer. And they can't sit around, wait. This needs cracked on with now. So bid the money, get the fee agreed, then the ball is in the court. You've agreed, your club's agreed to say, do you want to sign for it or not? If you don't want to sign for it, we'll have to move. We'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because Isak, I think the way they're acting, Isak needs solved now.
It does, because
it doesn't need solved in January or next summer, and that means I think he's gone.
But think about it, the striker situation is the biggest thing on the agenda at Newcastle at the minute, but they've got other positions to fill.
Well, I was going to come on to that. I think one of the hopes this summer was to allow Lewis Miley, from what I've heard, was to allow Lewis Miley to go, and I think he was going to, I'm not going to say where, but I think he was going to go somewhere very close to here. Not very close, but not that one.
All right.
I think that was the plan.
Right.
To allow him to go and play, because that's what he needs, first team games. I think there's acceptance from the player and the management that he does need to play games. So I think before Longstaff happened, that was the way it was probably going to go. But obviously it ain't going to happen now, and I think he's going to play games here, but they really need to bring a midfielder in.
Yeah, you've always said, to be fair, it is being slept on, because even the Joe Willock, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Look, it's on a massive amount of time. We obviously feared a lot longer for Joe Willock.
Still going to be mid-September. They're probably going to have played a fair few games by the time he comes back.
Yeah, they've currently got 4 fit midfielders for 3 positions. Look, as I say, we'll go back to the season they finished the Champions League last time, or the season they played Champions League football. Like, unravels so quickly because in their bodies. They will pick up injuries this year unless James Bunce is a miracle worker. You'd have to be, honestly, knight him if he can keep Newcastle United with a clean bill of health this summer. That's the season, sorry. Because there's too many games, and the squad's thin is out. They've actually got a weaker squad, I think, from last time in the Champions League, in terms of numbers at least, anyway.
Aye, so you've got a much better version of Lewis Hall, you've got a much better version of Sandro Tonali, but really you're probably not going to have Alexander Isak, and you haven't got Sean Longstaff, who's one of your starting midfielders back then.
Who scored?
And no replacement of Callum Wilson, who was in much better stock then than what he is now.
Yeah.
So, aye, it doesn't look great, does it?
Big Mickey as well.
I was
we've got
Alanga for me, Mickey, so like for like.
Yeah.
That's harsh. I wasn't meaning that. I'm just saying,
we're joking,
a right winger for a right winger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The squad is still weaker in numbers, and they need to address that. The striker situation has to be sorted ASAP, in my opinion. That's what I'm talking about this week. I think it has to be sorted for the next, I'd say the next 10 days. I think there's got to be a concrete answer. This can't rumble on till Newcastle maybe get someone through the door, and then it rumbles on maybe with Liverpool trying to get the biggest price they can. And that's a situation I would accept. I don't want a situation where it's like, is Sesko going to come? Is another person going to come? Is he not going to stay? We need sort of a
he doesn't leave
answer
till he's replaced, but it's going to be a big week in terms of replacement. I don't think Newcastle United want to go into that first game of the season with Anthony Gordon as their striker, because that's what it'll be.
Yeah, it will.
That's what we've seen today. That's what it will be.
Yep.
Plus Will Asula as the backup. I just don't think that's plausible.
It's
Can't
not.
let
It's
that
not.
happen.
It's not.
They can't let that happen.
The season's 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. Less than 2 weeks away.
One thing's guaranteed, unless they move really quickly, is that it's not going to be pretty for Aston Villa game. And then even then, it's another couple of weeks on top for the end of the window. So that, as we keep saying, as I keep repeating, they've got a lot to do. They've got a really lot to do, and that's why I think get the striker situation sorted. Then you've got to move for our positions. You can't just go, right, Isak's gone, we've signed a replacement, that's it. Yeah. No, you need a midfielder, you need a centre half, and Another striker.
Yeah. There's I'm trying to think of all the little bits to hoover up. Still see people talking gay all the time. He's already told them that he'd prefer to go to Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there's reports going around that there's a
might have changed
Crystal
if
Palace
Liverpool don't come in, but you know, like
Yeah.
his preference is Liverpool.
Well, you reported at the start of the summer on Newcastle World
away.
that they've backed away from, and as we understand, that's still the case, unless there's potential encouragement from the player side. But yeah, that it's quite strong. When obviously Jarell Konza went to Bayern Leverkusen, it was they want Marquis, and maybe again, if they don't sign Marquis this summer, they'll probably go and sign him next summer because they're the big fish. So if Marquis wants to stay out the final year of his contract, go to Liverpool next summer if he wants to.
Yeah.
Liverpool might not see £40 million as an investment for a player that's got a year left. I think for Newcastle, I think you'd have, if you want Guy out, you have to do it now, because in 12 months' time, if you go up against Liverpool, Chelsea, whatever, you're not going to get it. Let's be honest. They've seen that this summer.
I don't think they've had any indication that that's a goer.
No, they haven't. No.
So I think I see the German centre half. I don't even know how you say it. Malik Chow, is it how you say it?
Yes.
Is it Malik Chow? Look, it's funny because the bits of info I've had on him is they do really the scouting team, transfer team. It's hard to blend all together now, don't they? I do really like him, and I think the hope had been to maybe pair him with somebody like a Sven Botman. So I wouldn't rule that one out. I'll be honest, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm saying he's admired. He is admired, so I'm trying to think of other things you see kicking around. It's probably about it, isn't it? Centre halves, I don't know what they're doing in midfielders. I just don't know. I've never heard any names. You normally hear the odd name if they're looking at players, and I've not heard a name at all.
They might look at the midfield situation.
Might turn around, they might sign one tomorrow. Great, we'd be out of the moon with that.
Yeah.
But if that happens, they've done it right, because I've not been hearing. You always hear whispers. You tend to hear whispers. The best ones are when you don't hear whispers.
There was links to Conor Gallagher a few weeks back, but that was quickly dismissed, wasn't it? I think he'd be a good signing.
Yeah.
Definitely not good on Longstaff, but it doesn't seem like a. Like jinx it, yeah.
You sign him as a starting midfielder, I think, actually.
Conor Gallagher.
I think Conor Gallagher, if he signs, expects to play every week.
Yeah.
And I don't think he does.
No, not that three-man midfield. But as I say, you're an injury away from being in a bit of bother there.
Definitely.
But they'll have to rotate this season. Like you've seen before, Lewis Miley will have to play games, as will the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
It's a proper cliche, but it's a proper squad gate in this year, and they haven't got one. Yeah.
Not when you look at some of the players who've been turned out in pre-season. Not up to it.
Yeah.
It's just not right. Anyway, right, should we call it a day?
Yes.
Get this uploaded?
Yes.
Because it could be outdated by the time we get this up.
Probably are.
Right, it's good night, good morning, good evening, whatever, wherever you watch us. We do massively appreciate your support. Like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journals content, and we will possibly do another one before. If Eddie does one on Thursday, we'll probably do one, definitely. There might be one before, depending on what happens and what we hear. And then if not, we'll almost certainly. Last year, did we do the Saturday weekend? Did we just do one big one? No, we didn't, did we?
No,
you guys, was I away? No.
Yeah, we done it. Me and Dom done. I think you were away, because me and Dom did a Willa Sula video.
Yeah, and it did
memorable.
really well, didn't it?
Yes.
So you must have done a Friday night and a Saturday.
I believe so.
So we'll do that again this week, eh?
Yes.
Right. That's your Geordie Journals. You've got a plan of our itinerary now. what to expect from the Geordie Journals. But it's nice to do that for the viewers. We've got regulars. They like to know when to expect the videos to come.
Absolutely.
And of course there'll probably be a few more shorts this week. Might not be from this video. They've been really hard to do the shorts because things date so quickly.
It's because I don't make sense half the time. AI trying to pick up my voice. Nah.
Right. He was Jordan, I was Liam. We were the Geordie Journals, and we'll see you the next time. We'll see you. Which probably won't be long the amount of videos we're doing this summer. Cheers.